If the word budget makes you picture spreadsheets, calculators, and giving up everything you love, take a deep breath. This isn't about turning your life into a money prison. This is budgeting for beginners, and we're going to be keeping it simple, practical, and yes, even a little fun. The hang up for a lot of people when it comes to creating a budget for the first time is they think it's all about restriction, but budgeting isn't about restriction. If you think about it, it's really about direction. Have you ever looked at your bank account and wondered how the heck your paycheck vanished and so quickly? Budgeting changes that completely, and it does it by giving every dollar a job before it can wander off and leave you scrambling to catch up. Whether you're just starting out with budgeting, trying to stop living paycheck to paycheck like so many do, or wanting to save for something important like a down payment on a car or home, this video is packed with easy steps that anyone can follow. Hey everybody, welcome to Thrifty Budgeting. In this video, we're going to walk you through the basics from tracking your spending to picking a budget method that actually fits your lifestyle. You'll also learn how you can cut back without feeling punished, how to set realistic goals for yourself, and how to build habits that stick. Now be sure and hang with us up through tip number 6 because it's something you'll want to keep a sharp eye on. So grab something to write with, yes, crayon counts, and let's set this budgeting train in motion. All aboard for tip number 1, track every dollar. Now, before you can start budgeting, you need to know exactly where your money is going. Think of this like turning the lights on in a messy room. You can't clean it up until you see what's actually in there, even if you don't want to look. Hey, the truth shall set you free and maybe buy you a few tacos. Who we kidding? Maybe even the whole taco truck. Now, for one full week, but preferably 2, you want to track every single expense that you have. Yes, each and every one. That $4 coffee, the gas station snack on the way home from work, or the online subscription you totally forgot you have. It all counts. Now, to make things neat and easy, you can use a notebook, a spreadsheet, or even a free app like Mint or Every Dollar. Then, at the end of the week, take a look at your spending. Now, you might be shocked here about what you find. Maybe those groceries you thought were your biggest expense weren't the real culprit after all. It could be those takeout lunches quietly piling up, or those app upgrades and add-ons that you keep saying yes to. Now, this step isn't about guilt though. It's really about awareness. When the spotlight's on your money habits, you can start making real, lasting changes. Ones that won't fall apart faster than a cheap lawn chair. And here is the fun part. Once you know where your money is going, you might find opportunities to cut back that don't feel like a sacrifice. Maybe you can batch cook lunches instead of buying them daily. Maybe cancel a subscription that you're not using anymore. Small changes start with small realizations. Now we're off to a great start. Let's follow up with tip number 2. Choose a budgeting method that works for you. Here's where a lot of beginners get stuck. They think budgeting means following some rigid, complicated system with color-coded charts and financial spreadsheets that could pass for rocket science. But budgeting doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to work for you. Now, there's a few popular methods that can get you started, and you only need one to make progress. So first up is a popular one called the 50-30-20 budgeting format. Now, this one is easy to remember and people really do love it. So how this works is after taxes, the amount you bring home, you're going to take 50% of that, and that amount is going to go to your needs. Now, that's going to be things that you have to have, like rent, groceries, utilities. But we haven't forgot about you, because 40% goes to your wants. Oh yeah, dining out, entertainment, shopping, you can indulge in whatever. And then 20% goes to savings or debt repayment. Now, if you want something more hands-on, there's a second method that's called zero-based budgeting. Now, with this form, you give every dollar that you have in your possession a job until your income minus all your expenses equal zero. Now, that doesn't mean that you get to spend everything. It just means you assign your money somewhere, even if it's savings. Now, if you're the type of person that needs more structure and physical limits, this third method is called cash envelope system. You literally put cash into labeled envelopes for every category: groceries, gas, fun money, and so forth. Now, when the envelope's empty, you're done spending in that category for the month. Now, there's no one size fits all here. It's going to fluctuate. The best budgeting method is one that you'll actually stick to. And now, there's a lot on this channel you can browse. If one system doesn't fit your lifestyle, don't give up. Just pivot to the one that does. Budgeting should help you feel in control and not boxed in. Now, see, this isn't so bad. Now, speaking of control, there's one sneaky part of your budget that can run off with your cash if you're not paying attention, and that's your fun money. You know, the non-essentials you don't technically need, but really enjoy. Tip number 3, use cash for discretionary spending. Okay, let's talk about the budget category that loves to run wild. All those little extras that feel harmless in the moment. You know, things like coffee runs, takeout, or those Target strolls that magically turn into $75 adventures. No judgment here, we've all been there. This is where cash can become your best budgeting buddy. Try this. Figure out how much that you want to spend on fun money for the week. Maybe $40 or $60, whatever fits your situation. Withdraw that amount in cash and then put it in an envelope, a wallet, or heck, even a labeled snack bag if that's your vibe. So when the cash is gone, that's it. No swiping, no tapping, no oops, I'll just use my card this one time. Let's face it, sometimes we treat credit cards like Lay's potato chips. One swipe and poof, the bag and your budget are empty. Now, that's why cash is your secret weapon here. You see it leave your hand and that makes you think twice. So swiping a card, it's way too easy. I mean, you could easily spend $50 without blinking, but parting with actual money, that's different. You don't have to use cash for everything, just your discretionary spending, the stuff that you tend to overspend on. For some people, that's snacks. For others, it's Amazon scrolling at midnight. Now, if you're not a fan of carrying physical cash, you can use prepaid cards or create digital envelopes with budgeting apps like Good Budget or YNAB, YNAB. It's the same concept, just tech-friendly. Bottom line, using cash puts a natural boundary in place without feeling like punishment. It's budgeting with training wheels and surprisingly effective. Now you've got this. Let's take that energy into tip number 4. Set realistic goals. Yeah, I know, but let's be honest. When most people start budgeting, they go all in. They're like, I'm going to save $1,000 this month, stop eating out, cancel everything, and never ever spend money on anything fun again. Slow down, budget hero. That's how burnout happens. And we don't want that. Now, one of the best things that you can do as a beginner is to set realistic, achievable goals. So you want to start out small. Instead of aiming to cut your grocery bill in half overnight, try shaving off $10 to $20 each week. Instead of trying to save $1,000, aim for $100. That's a win, and those small wins build momentum. Think of budgeting like working out. If you've never run a mile, you don't don't sign up for a marathon next weekend, do ya? Heck no. You have to build stamina. You have to show up consistently. And the same thing goes for your money goals. Ask yourself, what's one small thing that I can change this week? Maybe it's making coffee at home 3 days instead of 5, or transferring $10 to savings every Friday. Whatever it is, make it doable and track your progress. Believe us, that sense of accomplishment keeps you going. Also, set goals that actually motivate you. In other words, don't save money just to save it. Save it for something that excites you, like a trip, a new laptop, a debt-free life. When you start to make your goals personal, they become powerful. Your budget should stretch you, not snap you. Real progress starts with realistic goals. So now that we have a better grip, let's move on to tip number 5. Use free tools or budget apps. Good news, budgeting doesn't require an elaborate setup or an accountant for that matter. In fact, there are tons of free tools and apps out there that make it easier than ever for you to get started and stick with. Now, if you're more of a pen and paper type, a simple notebook is going to work just great. Now, some folks even swear by printable budget trackers or envelope templates. Really, it's all about what makes you feel organized and in control. But if you prefer your budget in your back pocket, budgeting apps are a game changer. Now, apps like Mint, Good Budget, and Every Dollar are great for beginners. They let you track your spending, set goals, and categorize your expenses. Now, some even sync to your bank account automatically, so that way you can see your financial habits in real time. No math required. Score! Now, if you want to be even more hands-on, create your own spreadsheet. Now, Google Sheets and Excel both have free templates that you can customize to fit your lifestyle. You can even color code, add formulas, and make it feel totally you if that's your thing. The point is you don't have to build a budget from scratch or figure it all out in your head. These tools exist to make your life easier, not harder. So try out a few and see what clicks for you, because the right tool is the one you'll actually use and the one that helps you stay consistent. And while we're on the topic, keep an eye out for tip number 6, plan for irregular expenses. You know what really messes with the beginner's budget? Those sneaky, irregular expenses that pop up out of nowhere. Things like annual subscriptions you forgot about, birthday gifts, oil changes, back to school supplies, stuff that's not monthly but totally predictable if you stop and think about it. These are the budget busters that derail even the best intentions. I mean, you're cruising along, feeling good, and then bam, your car needs new brakes, or your cousin's wedding gift wasn't in the plan, and suddenly your budget is in the red, and you're flapping around like Daffy Duck in a Looney Tunes meltdown. So what do you do in those cases? Simple. Here's the fix. Create a dedicated savings fund for those occasional costs. All that means is setting aside a little bit each month for expenses that you know are coming, even if they don't come often. Think of it like a mini savings bucket that's labeled stuff I'd rather not be surprised by. For example, let's say you spend about $300 a few times a year on things like car maintenance, school supplies, or a big family event. So instead of scrambling to find that money when it hits, start setting aside $25 to $30 a month in advance. And that way, when it comes around, you've already got the cash waiting and your budget doesn't even flinch. Planning for these expenses turns them from panic moments into just another line item. And truthfully, that kind of peace is worth every penny. Budgeting for beginners isn't so bad once you realize you don't have to be a math wizard. You could even turn it into a game. So put these tips to use now so you can start living the life that you want. Until next time, stay thrifty.